Well, the big story in Action News this morning, we just heard, is that you passed a continuing resolution, but that only goes through March 22nd, correct?
Well, yes, but then yesterday on the floor, we did pass a bill for 6 different appropriations bills that will now provide full funding through the end of the fiscal year, which is the end of September.
Okay.
And listen, we're working to improve the process. Our goal as Republicans in charge in the majority is to move appropriations bills through what we call regular order to do a bill that will fund the government in an open and transparent manner. And in fact, we are today now moving out of the Budget Committee on which I serve our budget for the next fiscal year starting October 1st. It's the first that's happened in a long, long time. And that begins the process. Actually, the governor's or the president's budget should begin the process. He is late once again, so we'll be going into the State of the Union tonight, and he still hasn't presented his budget for the next fiscal year. But yes, we're working to improve the process. We have, with the bill that was passed yesterday on the floor, we've stopped the massive new spending from this administration. But we're making steps in the right direction. It's going to take a while to right the ship here, but we're making progress.
Where is the border in all of this? The border in Ukraine and Israel, is that still? Are they still separate issues?
So the border would fall under the Homeland Security appropriations bill, which is one of the remaining ones that will need to be done by March 22nd, as you mentioned. And that's going to be one of the really important ones where there would be negotiations with the administration. We continue to push the president to use all of the powers he already has available to him to secure the border. He could put forward the remaining Mexico policy. He could continue the building of the wall, which he stopped during his first week in office. So these are very, very important steps that he could take right now to take operational control of the border. It really wouldn't be that hard to do. What we're seeing at the border, the crisis, the disaster that we're seeing at the border is really of the president's making and doing. This is a decision that he made to allow millions of people into the country. And so, yes, it'll be important that we continue to fund the Border Patrol agents who are working there. But along with that, the president ought to be taking the steps and ought to work with us. We already have passed H.R. 2, which would give him additional tools. That was passed early in this session. And so that's a bill that the Senate could take up and that he could sign as well. That would give him even more tools to secure the border.
I think the Democrat Party has to wear this badge on the border because the governor of Arizona the other day vetoed a bill that would have allowed local authorities in Arizona to do what the authorities are doing in Texas to keep people away. And it's interesting that what Abbott has done in Texas has caused more people to go to Arizona to come across. So it shows that the barbed wire, the walls, and all that do work to the point where they're now going into Arizona, but the local authorities in Arizona can do nothing about it. What do you think we're going to hear from him tonight? It seems like he's pushing the blame everywhere else.
Well, I think he will say that he is willing to work with Republicans to make changes at the border. I don't know what he will propose, but you are exactly right. He already has the ability or has not taken advantage of the tools that have been available to him. In fact, he has reversed policies that were in place when he took office. So he'll, as you said, he'll attempt to shift the blame to Republicans. But if he's willing to work with us, we'll say, look at HR2, which we already passed. What provisions in that, if not all of them, we should take all of them to pass that bill in the Senate, and he could sign it into law tomorrow. But if he doesn't want to do all of them, he should be laying out what provisions in there he is willing to sign into law. And then again, as I said, he should move with everything that he has available to him now. I think I told you before, we were building the wall when he came into office. It had been appropriated. In fact, we think that he unconstitutionally stopped that because the House had authorized that and appropriated it and said this needs to be done. And I visited the border and saw miles of wall materials just rusting away. So this is materials that had already been procured. The government or the federal government already owned this material. It was in the process of being put into place, and he stopped. He stopped all of that. And so that's one of the things he'll say. And I think you'll also try to convince the American people that his economy is working. He's been saying the economy is doing very, very well for America. But when I talk to people across the district, they're still experiencing these incredibly high prices. They're still experiencing interest rates that have made buying a home much more unaffordable. That have driven up rents as well, and they're still experiencing the high prices when they fill their vehicles at the pump, and so it's not an economy that my constituents are feeling it's working for them. But this is, I think, the message that the president will have. He'll try to say that he's doing what he can on the border and he's willing to work with Republicans. He'll try to say that the economy is working really well.
Well, we'll look forward to all the reviews tomorrow that we'll get from many out there. Before I let you go, what's on the horizon for the House?
Well, RJ, we already talked about the budgeting process, so we do need to get through that. And then we're going to have a real debate and discussion about what the budget should look like going forward. We're going to put out a plan in the Budget Committee that would balance the budget in 10 years and that would begin to change our long-term fiscal trajectory. I have been pushing for a fiscal commission. We've talked about it on your show as well. This is something that I hope we're able to do as a part of some of these spending bills that would really start to look at that long-term trajectory and start to change it. Because if we don't, we're in trouble in the next few decades. Future generations will not have the opportunities that we've all had if we don't change that fiscal trajectory.
Congressman Lloyd Smucker, thanks for coming on today, and we'll chat with you next month.